From the zone inside historic Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa, we welcome you to National Signing Day 2023 here on the University of Alabama campus, as the Crimson Tide has once again signed the top-rated class in the nation. Welcome, everybody, along with former Tide great Christian Miller. I'm Chris Stewart. Very special once again. The Tide was able to secure the #1 class in the early period. They have maintained that as we've got to what is the traditional National Signing Day as well.
They have, a really great class, Chris. They filled a number of key needs. They got some really highly touted guys, but some impact players and, some serious stature across the offensive line. And I really liked about the character that Coach Saban talked about. That's important. And overall, man, just so much to be excited about and look forward to.
We are excited about Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama being our title sponsor on our coverage of National Signing Day 2023. And again, we have a great crowd that's gathering. A little bit later, they'll hear from Coach Saban himself. And again, it's been not at all surprising, but an awful lot of fun to see this type of class put together. The season, far from a bad one, but not at the level Bama fans are accustomed to, which means wrapping up in the college football playoff in most years, a fight for the national title.
Yeah, and that's the standard that we're used to around here. But here's the thing. This is why we have recruiting. Coach Saban, those coaches are going out there and they're getting the guys. That's half the battle. You're going out there and getting the talent, and then you're getting it on campus, and then you're going to develop that talent. And that's what we have right here. And, a lot of things to look forward with this class, and I'm really excited for them.
We're going to run through the class for you very quickly before we go in depth with each of the individuals. So let's just take a look at the list, and it is one that's loaded with the best names in all of high school football across the country, and some of the top junior college prospects as well.
It is, and again, like I mentioned, so many positions of need that have been filled, and again, just high character guys that are highly competitive, ready to come in and compete for a job, and they can really contribute to the success moving forward in the program.
So over the course of our program, we're going to break things down by position and run through some of the top talent around, and we're going to begin in just a moment with the offensive line, which again, everything seems to start up front. I know the defensive guys obviously are very important. I know my audience right here, and for you, that means the defensive guys.
That's right.
But those offensive linemen, you can't have enough of them, and you certainly can't have enough of these 4 and 5 stars, which Alabama's loaded with once again.
That's right, and it looks like we've lost a little bit of depth, and we've filled that role. We've gotten a lot of guys for the offensive line, and if you look at it, these guys have serious stature. They're going to help anchor that line. They almost average almost 6'6", 330 pounds. So we're talking about some serious size, Chris.
True.
I'm expecting these guys to get some movement up front.
So if 6'6" is the average size, we're going to start things off not with the little guy in the group. I hate to say it that way, but it's 6'3", 340. I guess he may be. Raquez, they call him Rock McElderry, and he is indeed a rock out of Anniston, Alabama.
He really is a rock. This guy is a physical offensive lineman. He plays with that mean streak, right? He plays with that passion, with exactly what you want to see out of an offensive lineman. Here he is lined up on the right side, playing the block right there, keeping his feet, boom, laying that guy out right there. That's the physicality that you want to see out of a lineman. Driving him off the ball, good inside hands, finishing blocks. This guy is known to get pancakes. He is a force up front. And he plays with really good leverage. You see him, keeping his good base, good ankle flexibility. Here it is, driving this guy down the field, not stopping. He's going to block him to the whistle, Chris, and that's exactly what you want out of an offensive lineman.
So as a defensive guy, what's the last thing you want to see from an offensive lineman that you're approaching, besides being 6'3", 340?
Besides the size, Chris, if you can see that he can move with some athleticism and he has that physical punch like we've seen from Rock, oh, man, you're in for a long night as a defender.
And Rock chose Alabama over Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, and Tennessee. Played for head coach Rico White at Anniston High School. And Alabama did indeed welcome him to the family, and he is part of this signing class for 2023, as is Miles McVay, who at 6'6" is right at that average you were talking about. 358 out of East St. Louis High School.
Miles McVay, a very large guy. Big guy, 6'6", 350 pounds, 350 plus. He's enormous. He has experience playing both sides, so he can play left tackle and right tackle. Going to help protect the blind side of the quarterback. And if you watch him, he has great footwork, especially for his size. He moves so well. It's not typical that you see guys of that stature being able to move like he moves. Here he is getting out on the block on the edge, just bulldozing guys. And look at him still running with the play. You love to see that. He's going to benefit tremendously, I feel like, with this strength program. He's going to get in there, and they're going to get him in even better shape. They're going to trim some of that extra weight off of him, and you're really going to see him, grow into his full potential. But here he is just laying guys out. Still, again, moves so well for his size, and that's what you want to see. A guy with great stature, but he can still move, and that's exactly what Miles McVay shows.
And a guy still with a lot of upside as far as his growth and his potential. I know that's always the case with a freshman, but this is a young man that they feel like is going to get better and better. Maybe not one of the highest rated players, but when you realize Michigan State, Missouri, Oregon, Texas A&M, and of course the Tide all offered, that tells you they see some greatness potentially in his future.
Oh, definitely. Anytime a guy with that has that size and can move like that, teams are going to be calling. But luckily, we got him here at Alabama.
It's one thing you can't teach is how to be 6'6". You can
teach
take
it.
358 bigger, but you can't teach 6'6". Same thing with Olas Alanen from Windsor, Connecticut. He is from the Loomis Chaffee School, actually originally from Finland, but prepped in the United States in Connecticut, and he's not tough to find on a field and film, even with the camera this far back.
That's exactly right, Chris. Just look at this guy. I mean, he's a physical force. He's mean. He's nasty. He's making guys pay, and he's going to keep going into the whistle like we've seen with these other linemen. I love the tenacity that these guys play with. It's exactly what we need. And for a guy that's 6'6", I mean, he has great bend and flexibility. Another guy that, is so fluid with his footwork for his size. You see him pulling off, getting on to another block. This guy has no problem climbing to the next level. He really could even shift to guard, even with his size. I could see him playing all over the offensive line, which is great. And again, you just look at him, excellent length, phenomenal frame, and can move well. Here he is right here, coming down, just making guys pay, and he has no issue pancaking guys.
Yeah, his dad played in NFL Europe, that development league for the National Football League. Spent a season on the Falcons practice roster, so he's got some really good football bloodlines, even though he's from Finland. It's a nation that you don't think of playing our sport, but he certainly fits the bill very, very well. Somebody who is local but fits the bill as well, Wilkin Formby, 6'7", 295, the Tuscaloosa native, played at nearby Northridge High School.
Local guy. He's going to take pride in this opportunity, and rightfully so. And again, you can't stress this enough. This guy is 6'7". The stature of these guys is just impressive. He's a tall, lengthy athlete. Look at him pulling around right there, being able to move, get push up front. And again, he's capable of even adding additional mass to his frame. He's going to get in that program. He's going to benefit from that. You see his technique right there. Nice and good knee bend and bend at the waist as well. He's a physical finisher with his blocks. You'll see him, look at just driving guys off the football. Playing with nice inside hands, has a nice punch to him. Here he is lined up at left tackle right here on the reach block, making the guy pay. I love that we see these guys not only excel in the run blocking, but the pass blocking. There's a lot of versatility with these offensive linemen that we're seeing, and meaning they can play all over the line of scrimmage and move all around.
I don't know if it's the number one thing you look for, but with a guy that big on the offensive line, footwork is pretty soon down the list, isn't it, of things you are looking for?
It is, Chris. You think about a left tackle, that guy is on an island. He's got to play by himself a lot of the times. He's going to have those one-on-ones with the defensive end, so it's critical that he does a good job being able to move his feet.
So from Tuscaloosa, we go to Iowa to find the next signee along the offensive line, and Caden Proctor is indeed a great one from a high school standpoint, one of the top-rated tackles this year, the top-ranked prospect in the state of Iowa, 5-star according to everybody.
Man, this guy is talented, and this is a guy that I feel like can have an instant impact. He's got the size. He's 6'6", 6'7", 330 pounds, and he is strong and physical. I really like what I see out of his technique as well. You watch him. He's a little more advanced than you typically see from a high schooler in his technique. And you compare that, you put that with the extraordinary size and the elite frame. I think you can put this guy in and he can play really early. He reminds me of a guy I played with, Jedrick Wills, who's also with the Cleveland Browns now. A guy that you can put in there. He's going to be physical against the run, but he has great technique against the pass. And I think this guy can really come in and make an instant impact.
Played basketball as well. And look, you're signing a guy to play football, but if he can play two sports, especially basketball, when you're a lineman that size, I've got to think that is something that coaches just salivate about at the next level, because they realize the athleticism in the footwork we talk about is going to be really good.
Absolutely. Anytime you see a guy this size and he's athletic enough to step on the court and be good on the court, oh, man, those coaches are salivating.
That's pretty special. So Caden Proctor, who is probably the highest rated of those linemen, but again, far from the only player to be excited about among the offensive line signees.
Sure, and again, you just look at the offensive line, right? You know, the common characteristic is this amazing size and stature, but they also move really well. They have versatility. They have great technique from what we've seen. They have great punch. They're physical. They like to finish blocks. And I really feel like these are high-character guys that are going to want to come in and compete, and that's exactly what you want out of an offensive lineman.
What was the biggest need that you saw at this position group coming in? And clearly they met it, but what specifically was it for you?
I felt we kind of needed to get back to some of that dominant force up front, really knocking guys off the football, playing physical. And guys like Caden Proctor, we see that out of him. You know, this guy is a bully, as well as Rock and Miles McVay and Elias. All these guys are physical at the point of attack, and that's exactly what I feel like we kind of, you know, went away from a little bit, and that's what these guys went out and got. And I'm so excited for them to come in the program, get developed, and then put that product on the field at Bryant-Denny.
Technique's important, but you're looking for somebody at the end of the day that'll punch you in the mouth.
That's right.
That's what they got with the offensive line.
That's exactly right.
That factor is so important to this next group that we're going to talk about, the running backs, because obviously the linemen are making things a lot easier for those guys. But look, these are some talented young men who in this class can take care of business on their own. Just give them a little bit of a hole.
Man, these guys, they can make you pay with their legs. They're hitting the hole, Chris, and they are out of there. They have great vision, great breakaway speed. You watch them. They're making guys miss. They're running guys over. These guys are very special. I'm excited about this group.
Let's talk about them right now and look at them individually. We begin with Richard Young. He's 5'11", 200. Lehigh Acres, Florida. Played at Lehigh Senior High School, a running back who's extremely explosive.
That's exactly what I have written down. He is explosive with tremendous burst. I mean, this guy is like being shot out of a cannon when you hand him the football. Give him a lane, and he is gone. You know, you watch him right here, the inside zone, making guys miss. Look at him just running through defenders, running through arm tackles, and there's that breakaway speed we talked about. This guy he's taking it to the house. If you give him a little bit of room, he's out of there. You know, you watch him. He's got what I like to call the perfect blend of physicality, then shiftiness and elusiveness. You know, he's not one-dimensional. This guy, he's not afraid to lower his shoulder and run you over. He can make you miss with his jukes. You know, he's just so dynamic, and I really like what I see out of him. You know, he's tough to bring down. Again, that burst and explosiveness through the hole. Now, you can't arm tackle him. You got to get in there and drive your feet on this guy. There he is, making guys miss, running through defenders, taking it all the way.
You know, the size and the ability to run over people, but also, like you said, the ability to make them miss.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously you want to be able to run through tackles, but to avoid them on the front end gives you a lot more opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you think about, you know, swing passes and dumping it off to him in the backfield. That first DB, he's not going to make that tackle with a guy that's shifty like that, and that's exactly what you want in your running back.
So we go from Richard Young to Justice Haynes, and another great talent, 5'11", 200, out of Buford, Georgia. Buford High School, one of the most explosive and talented running backs, not only in the talent-rich state of Georgia, but in the nation as well.
You talk about productivity, Chris. This guy, he was so productive in high school and doing it at a high level in a very talented conference. You know, this guy has the proper size that you want out of a three-down running back. There he is hitting that hole, and he is out of there. Going to hit his head on the goalpost. He's so he's just gone as soon as he sees that hole. You know, he finds his hole, makes his cut, and he's out of there. You know, this guy again, just like Richard Young. You know, he's a physical downhill runner, but he also can make you miss. I think this tandem has a chance to be truly special. You know, Alabama is known for their running backs, and these guys, they fit that bill, and I think they are definitely going to come in and help follow that tradition that we've seen out of Alabama running backs.
What strikes me when you look at these two guys, Christian, the fact that they look like college running backs already.
Exactly. they're developed, you know, and I can see these guys coming in right away. We have some great running backs on the roster, but guys of this magnitude, they're going to make it tough for you not to put them on the football field. Again, these guys both are 3-down backs that can really do it all. Great vision, great speed and elusiveness. They're explosive, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be great in pass pro just because of their physicality. And so these guys, man, they really have it all. We're really, really special to have some talent at the running back position.
And circumstances dictate, even though, as you said, there's expected to be some veteran depth for next year, you can't have too many these days, especially the way Nick Saban will use them offensively and give multiple guys looks.
Hey, it just means you're going to have fresh legs, Chris. If one guy's tired, put the next guy in, and you know you're going to keep that same level of in your standard, because these guys are truly talented and they can do everything that you need them to do. So you can never have too many running backs in your stable.
Can't have too many running backs, can't have too many weapons overall with your offense. And as we're going to see with the tight ends and wide receivers, Alabama has added that in terms of guys who are capable of making a real difference in the passing game as well. These running backs we saw capable of catching the football. When you start with tight end Ty Lockwood out of Thompson Station, Tennessee, and Independence High School, he fits the bill of what Alabama's been looking for at that slot as well.
He does, Chris. 6'5", 225. I think this guy can come in and work with the strength coaches, add a little bit of weight. But he is a talented receiving type of tight end that's going to be a weapon in the passing game, which is always nice. You just mentioned you never can have too many weapons, and you definitely need one at the tight end position. He's flexed out right here in the slot. Here he is getting the ball. You see him, yards after the catch, not afraid to lower his shoulder. Here he is lined up on the right side of the field, making his blocks downfield, just enough to let that running back hit that hole. Here he is lined up outside again. Nice hands, making guys miss. He's shifty. He's a big target with good hands. He's going to, frequently make these catches in traffic due to his size. That nice long frame, like I mentioned earlier, he can hold extra weight, and that's going to help him when, he's, asked to block, because he will be asked to block here in this system. The tight ends are required to block, and he shows that he can do that, and putting a little weight on is definitely going to aid him in that. And again, you always need a nice big target, at tight end, really helping the red zone with those jump balls, and just being able to find a nice little target, coming off the line of scrimmage.
Great pickup for Alabama, because he originally committed to Ohio State and then chose the Tide over the Buckeyes, LSU, Tennessee, among others who were hoping to have Ty Lockwood join the fold. We go from the tight ends to the wide receivers, and Cole Adams starts things off. He is from Owasso, Oklahoma, 5'10", 180. Not one of the biggest targets, but obviously a very good one.
A very good one indeed, Chris. Cole Adams. This guy is very dynamic, right? He doubles as a returner, so you're going to see him back there catching punts and kickoffs. Here he is right here fielding a punt, taking it down the left side. I mean, this guy has a speed to get away from defenders, and when you need that breakaway speed as a punt returner. He's really quick and elusive, and again, those are all traits that you like to see out of returners. I mean, this guy is just, man, he has speed, blazing speed. And I want to say he posted a 10.65 in the 100-meter dash. So that's a testament to his speed right there. But even though he's not the biggest guy, he's definitely a very gritty guy. And he's demonstrated on film that he's a willing blocker. And he plays a lot bigger than his size. And I think you'll definitely see this guy fielding some punts and some kicks early on in his career, also contributing at the wide receiver position.
You said gritty, because not just the speed, but the toughness to break some tackles in the open field. A lot of people wanted him. Oklahoma, the home state school, made a strong push for him, but Arkansas and LSU, as well as Tennessee, all made strong pushes to get Cole Adams, but thankfully he will wind up in an Alabama uniform. Already looks good in the Bama uni and getting set to join the Crimson Tide. Jaron Hamilton, 6'1", 188, a little bit bigger, out of Gainesville, Florida. And Bama again takes another one out of the Gators, not backyard, but front yard.
Yeah, kind of like me out of Columbia, South Carolina.
That's true. How'd that work out for you?
Oh, it worked
pretty
out
nice.
Phenomenal, Chris.
Did for us as well.
Man, Jaron Hamilton, I'm so glad we got this guy. You look at him, this guy's a track background, so he exhibits that impressive athletic ability. Just such a dynamic guy. I mean, look how hard it is to bring him down. He's fighting for those extra yards. Something you love to see out of a receiver. He's, again, another guy with grit. Here he is, coming in motion, catching the football right there, making the guy miss with a nice stiff arm. running through defenders. I mean, for a receiver, this guy is physical. Kind of reminds me of our Darius Stewart, a guy that was so physical at the position, willing blocker, and he takes pride in his physicality. Look, trucking guys, that's not typical of a wide receiver, and that clearly stands out to me on film.
Jaron picking the Tide over, not surprisingly. Florida, Michigan State, Tennessee, and USC. Truly a national recruit that Alabama was able to get to come to Tuscaloosa, and excited to see how he'll look in both those great-looking road white uniforms, but the crimson jerseys as well. Let's go to Malik Benson, who's next on the list. 6'1", 185 out of Lansing, Kansas. He's one of these junior college products that we talked about. There weren't a ton, but there were a few, and they're expected to help immediately. And a guy who was the top JUCO prospect out of Hutchinson there in Kansas certainly fits that bill.
Yeah, this guy has experience coming from JUCO, and you watch him. The speed down the field, making a nice catch right there, outrunning everybody. See you later. This guy is a dynamic guy. He's got that great speed, which is going to translate to that deep threat ability. You even watch him on film. Here he is right there, making a nice correction right there to that back shoulder throw, making a nice grab in the end zone. Here he is right here at the bottom of the screen. Nice catch, making guys miss, picking up yards after the catch. Man, and if you watch him, he's a great route runner as well. He's going to give you that deep threat ability, and he's going to even demonstrate that body control like we saw earlier to make those contested catches, to make those acrobatic type catches. And I think he can step in and contribute immediately.
A lot of great yards on his own after making the catch as well. So from Malik Benson, we go to another tremendous player from Longview, Texas, Jalen Hale, at 6'1", 185, one of the most explosive athletes in the entire recruiting class.
He is, a talented basketball player and track athlete in Jalen Hale. He's this guy, he plays above his size, 6'1", 185, but he's got that really good body control that allows him to high point the football, make those contested catches, make catches in traffic. You see him lined up right here in the slot, getting downfield. Nice catch right there, and boom. Let's see, adjusting to that football, making those catches. I mean, this guy has it all at receiver, and he definitely can make you miss and finish at the end of the play going for 6 right there. I really like his run after the catch ability that he's displayed on film. Here he's lined up right here at the bottom of the screen, going deep, high pointing the football, attacking that football, making sure nobody else can get it but him, stiff arming guys, taking it all the way for a touchdown. This guy has a potential to be a vertical threat as well. So overall, from this receiver group, there's a lot of versatility, a lot of deep threat ability, but also some shiftiness, some guys that run great routes, going to offer you some nice weapons in the short passing game as well as, throwing it deep. And there's a lot to be excited about in this wide receiver group.
So on the first clip and that one, we see he'll go across the middle and catch football, which says he's not afraid of contact. But we saw with the speed, there's not going to be many opportunities for contact. He is gone, and they're trying to tackle air.
Exactly. They're tackling the air. And I just love the fact that you watch when he adjusts the football, that body control. He does a great job tracking the football. It's not easy, when a throw is a little underthrown or thrown below the waist. He does a great job of adjusting to that and making those catches. And again, the versatility out of this group is phenomenal. And I really like what I see. You got some experience with a JUCO guy and Malik Benson and the other guys, Cole Adams and Jalen Hale. Just so much versatility in that group that I think could really contribute to the wide receiver room.
There are a lot of guys, and we see this. Alabama in its offense will use a lot of players. But we learned, unfortunately, 2 years ago in the college football playoff, you can't have enough healthy ones.
That's
because
right.
Alabama lost both of its primary targets in the semifinal and then the final itself. Other guys didn't get themselves ready to contribute. That's a lesson that will carry on for years, and I think it's a message that will resonate with players, and guys like this incoming class will be all the more motivated to get themselves prepared to play.
Exactly, and that's why it's next man up mentality. You got to be prepared, you got to be ready. And again, mentioning that character of these guys seem to have their head on straight and understand, they need to come in, they need to work, they need to develop and be ready, because that opportunity can come calling when you least expect it.
Even though John Parker Wilson would love it if I said we were saving the best position for last, I will say that we're saving the highest profile position for last. Does that get me covered?
I agree.
Okay. All right. Let's just go that way. Let's start with quarterback and with Dylan Lonergan. who's out of Snellville, Georgia. Brookwood High School, 6'2", 215, another multi-sport athlete, really good as a baseball player, as well as a 4-star at the quarterback position, and a guy who can throw it and run it very nicely.
That's right, Chris. This guy can make plays with his arm as well as his legs. You mentioned it, great baseball prospect. You know, those guys are known to have nice arms. You see him display it right here. Great accuracy on that throw right there down the field. You know, I really like the poise and confidence that he displays on film. You know, he's calm, cool, and collected back there in the pocket. Kind of like a guy we've seen play here that's about to play in a Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts. You know, one of the guys who's just clearly just so calm at any moment. And, you know, you see this displayed from Dylan. He's just, there he is taking off with his legs right there, showing that athletic ability. And, man, he's a lot faster than his 40 time might show. This guy is a good athlete, can make good throws, has some nice accuracy, and I think that's really what stands out on film for Dylan Lonergan.
Not afraid to stand in that pocket, even though we saw in the previous clip he can run it.
He can, and that's what you need. You need a guy that's not afraid to take some of those hits. He's going to find his targets. He's going to keep his eyes downfield. He's not going to let the pressure overwhelm him. He's going to stick in there and make those throws. Really
bright kid. Picked Alabama over South Carolina and Stanford, and he will be one of two really skilled quarterbacks coming in. Eli Holstein being the other, 6'4", 222. He's out of Zachary High School in Zachary, Louisiana, and one of the top prospects in this class.
Another great athlete at the quarterback position in Eli Holstein, Chris. You know, 6'5", 6'4", 225, like you mentioned. This guy's a great athlete. Has that frame that you want to see out of a quarterback. It's going to translate to that big arm that he shows on film. This guy has a strong arm when you watch him throw the football. Here he is dropping back the pass, airing it out deep. Look at that, man. I mean, a lot of air into that ball. Drops it right in the basket right there. Also has displayed some really good, you know, pocket presence as well when he steps back and drops in the pocket right here. Steps up in the pocket, not afraid to use his legs. And same thing, look at this guy. This guy is a great athlete. He's a lot faster than you might think, and you got to respect his legs. So, you know, definitely got to respect that and know that he can make plays, extend them right like he's doing right here, evading pressure, making the throw. Again, this quarterback position, these guys are both great athletes, both have some serious zip on the ball, can air it long, throw the ball with some nice accuracy. Here he is dropping in the basket right there. Nice back shoulder throw in the end zone. I'm really excited about this quarterback position, Chris.
Boy, the arm strength, but the touch as well.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Both. Everything was impressive about those guys. And, again, I expect both of those guys to come in there. They'll probably, you know, lean on each other, but they'll also compete with each other. And I think they're going to both make each other better.
Sure.
They're going to both be competing, but they'll be leaning on each other. They're starting this journey together. And they're similar type guys, you know, athletic guys with some nice zip and some nice accuracy. So I'm excited to see these guys get on campus, get that uniform on, and start practicing.
So Alabama with a lot of new weapons at different positions. Still to be determined who the coordinator is going to be, but it's an offense that Nick Saban will have his stamp of approval on. Yep. Obviously, it'll be Alabama's offense.
Yep.
He's made that clear before, but it looks like they met every need they had with this class, regardless of who's coming in and charged with calling the plays.
I agree, Chris. You know, you got the big physical lineman up front that's going to help you run the football. They're athletic enough. Worked, you know, in their pass protection. You got the athletic, dynamic playmakers at the receiver position, a tandem of running backs who are, you know, do-it-all type guys, can run the football through the holes on the perimeter, make guys miss, run you over. And then you look at these quarterbacks, man, they can make plays with their legs. They stay in the pocket with good presence. Overall, phenomenal job on the offensive side of the ball in this recruiting class.
All right, the offense we've run through, and technically these guys are part of the offense as well, but the specialist we'll take a look at. Connor Talty is the place kicker out of Chicago, Illinois, in St. Rita High School, 6'1", 195. And we say this basically everybody that signed, regardless of position, one of the top fill in the blank in the 2023 class. In this case, it is indeed place kickers.
Place kickers are needed, especially this year. You know, Will Reichard, you know, going on to the NFL. So it fills a need there. You know, Connor was 17 to 21, 81%. This past season, a long of 51 and 36 with his PAT. So very consistent guy. Shows that he has range with a long of 51. And again, is a need that is going to be filled with Will Reichard leaving. So he also doubles as a punter, Chris. He has experience punting the football with a 45-yard average. So if you need him as a backup punter, there you go.
You do indeed, and played at St. Rita High School and selected to play in the Polynesian Bowl. And again, you're right, Will did say initially, or the thought was initially, that Will was going to go, but he is indeed back. So that weapon, the veteran weapon, back. A little bit of pressure maybe off of these guys that, or off of Connor, that he doesn't have to be the guy immediately, but these guys all come in believing they can compete regardless of who's there and however good the guy is that's been there before.
That's right. Well, excuse me on that mistake, but
all right.
You're exactly right. That gives him time to
news.
develop. That is great news.
Yeah.
So Will Riker is back, and that gives Connor Talty some time to develop and learn from a guy who's Alabama's leading scorer. I should hopefully write on that note about might need to double check that, but he can learn from Will Riker and develop, and so that's great news.
When we did this the first time, we thought he was gone.
I
understand exactly where you're coming from.
He pulled a fast one on us.
He got you. And he got married as well. So let's just tell the truth. He's not going to make any more decisions anymore. He's a married man.
It's her decision now.
That's right. If he's wise, that's where it'll be. All right, let's take a look at what's going on the defensive side from this signing class. We begin along the defensive front with Edric Hill. He is out of Kansas City, North Kansas City High School, 6'3", 290. Pick up for the Crimson Tide, and somebody they expect to be a real impact in the middle of that defensive front.
Man, finally on my side of the
ball.
Here
we go. We saved it for you.
What I've been waiting on.
Got rid of kickers and everything.
Edric Hill, man, a guy that is disruptive, right? You see him lined up. He's going to be that run stuffer. He's a big, heavy guy, but it's athletic. You see him using his swim move right there, getting in the backfield. For a big guy, he really can move well. He's disruptive. He's got the good athleticism. Here he is right here. Just rushing the passer relentlessly. He's strong at the point of attack. Nice get off. It's like he's getting shot out of a cannon, making the quarterback pay. And you like to see that he has that pass rush ability, so you can line him up all across the interior defensive line, and he can help generate pressure. There he is blocking a punt right here, showing some good length right there, getting his hands up, lined up at nose. Again, getting off the football, using his hands, coming up with the sack, making a big hit on the quarterback.
When you were playing here, this team was so nasty up front, front seven, front eight, just really tough, physical. I understand things change, and with offenses changing, the look of your defense often has to change as well in terms of trying to catch those guys, run them down. But Alabama wants to see more physical group up front again, don't they?
They do, and that's exactly why they went and got guys, starting with Edric Hill, that can really be disruptive and help wreak havoc, because, again, you have to be physical up front, and you have to be disruptive up front.
Hunter Osborne fits in that mold as well. He is a D lineman out of Trussville, Alabama, played at Hewitt-Trussville High School, 6'4", 260, and the highest-ranked D lineman in the country, a consensus 4-star recruit.
This guy right here, Chris, is a big, strong, physical guy. He does a really good job with his hands, you see on film. And I expect him to be able to move around the front because of his size and athleticism. So he can move all over. You see him lined up in a 5 technique right here, getting off the ball, fighting through the double team, making a sack, making the quarterback pay. He does a really nice job using his hands, getting extension, disengaging with blockers, using his length to help keep guys off of him. I still project him more as, a defensive end role here, not necessarily a jack position in our defense, but more of a defensive end, that 5 technique, 4-eye technique. A guy who has pass rush ability, but also physical enough to stop the run. You see him right here, great extension with his hands, shedding the blocker, getting off and making a football play right there. Lined up at 5 technique again, setting a nice edge, nice firm edge, getting off the block, making a big play in the backfield. So a lot to be excited about with Hunter Osborne.
He had 50 Division I offers, but ultimately chose the Crimson Tide over Auburn, Tennessee, Texas. So we've established he does not like orange. He likes crimson. That'll put him in good company once he arrives here at Tuscaloosa.
It will. I think crimson is a lot better than orange. Don't you think, Chris?
Orange is just crimson that didn't make it, right?
There you go.
Is that how we're going to go with it anyway?
I agree.
Let's move right along. And, boy, when I hear Tyler, Texas, I think of a former Longhorn because I'm a lot older than you. I think of Earl Campbell, the Tyler Rose. But thankfully, another great one from that town is coming to Tuscaloosa. Jordan Renault, 6'4", 245. Again, one of the top D linemen, a consensus 4-star recruit.
Jordan Renault, another guy who's just that heavy-handed type of defender who's physical. at the point of attack. Here he is lined up at left end in the 5 technique, coming off the football, using a nice, powerful long arm. Great technique right there, keeping extension, getting a sack, forced fumble. Here he is lined up right here in more of a 4-eye technique, playing physical at the point of attack, making a nice run stop, getting lined up, playing the run, putting his nose in there. This guy does a really nice job when he strikes his blockers, he disengages and goes and makes a play. And he could develop into more of another defensive end, just like we just saw at Hunter Osborne. Similar type guys who have the frame to put on weight and slide down a little bit more in the defensive line.
Got chosen to play in the Under Armour All-American game. He played for Joe Willis at Tyler Legacy High School and picked Bama over Auburn, as we said with the previous guy in Hunter Osborne. But Renault choosing Bama over Auburn, Florida State, Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan, and the in-state Texas Longhorns as well. Let's go from the state of Texas back to Sweet Home Alabama and talk about James Smith. He's out of Carver High School in Montgomery. Powerful D lineman, great size and speed, 6'3", 310.
A lot of people are waiting on this announcement, Chris. I remember a lot of people wanted to find out where he was going to go because this guy was highly touted and for a good reason. You know, you watch him, you talk about disruption and wrecking havoc. This guy displays that, and he does it with great athleticism, especially for his size. This guy is 300-plus pounds, and they're lining him up in a 5 technique. Here he is coming off the end at the left edge, getting a sack. Again, you don't typically see a 300-pounder that can line up on the edge, but this guy is athletic enough to do it. There he is, getting skinny, as we call it, reducing his size, squeezing through there, getting a sack. Here he's at right end, putting his nose in there, making a nice play. He has a great first step off the football. He fires off the football, and look at that pursuit, chasing down that quarterback. I mean, again, this guy's 300 pounds. I can't reiterate that enough, and he's moving like this. Great pickup in James Smith. This guy's versatile, as you've seen. He can line up all over the defensive line, but he's got the size to do so and the athleticism. A lot to look forward to in James Smith.
There's no doubt about that. Played for Marcus Gardner at Carver. Picked Bama over Auburn, Georgia, and Florida State, among many others. But again, an example of the commitment that Coach Saban and staff made to go out and get better across the board, and got an elite one with James Smith. But again, he is not alone among those defensive linemen.
He's not alone. There's a plethora of guys in this class that are, again, just disruptive. They're physical at the point of attack. They're violently shedding guys, getting off blocks, disengaging. They're collapsing pockets. They're using their pass rush moves. They're versatile enough to stop the run and play physical at the point of attack, but they also are athletic enough to rush the passer. So a very balanced defensive front that I think they're putting together in this class.
Talk about it from your perspective, how much that front does set the tone for what the rest of the defense does.
Everything starts up front, Chris. I might be a little biased, but it's true. It starts up front. You have to be physical up front, and you have to impose your will and establish a line of scrimmage. And it starts with going and getting guys like this, getting them in the program, teaching them the Bama standard, and letting them go out there and do it.
All right. You would certainly know that. We go from the D-line to looking at the DBs, and the secondary has some great signees as well. Let's start with Brayson Hubbard. He is an athlete, listed as an athlete, which tells you he can play a lot of different things. But he's out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Ocean Springs High, 6'2", 190. That's a good starting point.
It is,
for
Chris.
a DB.
It is, and you hit the nail on the head. This guy can do it all. He's actually a talented dual-threat quarterback in high school who's going to be moved to the defensive back position. Probably a safety, as you'll see. But this guy has great size at 6'2", 190. I think here he is right here, lined up at quarterback, I believe.
Yeah.
Look at that throw. I mean, I guess we have an emergency quarterback as well.
Heaven help us, but if necessary, that's not a bad choice.
Not a bad idea. You look at him make guys miss, so he clearly is displaying athleticism. A guy like this, I think he's going to be a special teams ace. I think you put him out on special teams, run down on kickoff and punt, and put him out there, and he's going to make plays. But then you put him in the back end, and once he kind of gets, fit and comfortable and acclimated at the defensive back position, I think he definitely can add some nice depth there. I think, again, that size, you can't coach 6'2", 190 in that athleticism that we're seeing. He's high-stepping guys. Hey, maybe we see him move to wide receiver. I mean, this guy just is a playmaker, Chris, and you love it.
He's definitely a spare part, I think, at multiple spots if something were to go wrong. But that being said, coaches, you hear it all the time, love seeing a guy that can play different places and different sports. I still think of Josh Jacobs being a guy that was not seen in person by the Alabama staff on the football field, but he was seen on the basketball court, and what they saw on film, they went, yeah, this guy can play, and I guess history has shown that was indeed the case.
Hey, a lot of things translate, and a good coach is going to be able to scout talent and say, hey, this guy really can. We can coach that. You know, we can help develop this guy, and that's what makes great coaches. They see those guys, they see their potential, and they know they have the ability to develop them into the player that they can be.
Let's go from one really good athlete to another one, and this one from a program that has just been so dominant in high school football in the state of Alabama recently. And Tony Mitchell's a big reason why. At 6'2", 180, top-rated prospect, and really looks to keep that tradition of standout DBs under head coach Nick Saban continuing. 5-star commit, and everybody wanted him.
Absolutely. You know, again, great size, as you mentioned, 6'2", 180. Here he is lined up more at a corner position, attacking the football, coming up with the interception. This guy is versatile where he can play all over the secondary. I mean, we see him lined up at corner right there, but he's got great length where I can see him lining up at the free safety position. I mean, this guy's still running with the football, so he's clearly a great athlete with the ball in his hands. Matter of fact, he's at free safety right here, driving on the football, not afraid to come lower his shoulder and make a tackle. You love to see good run support from a defensive back. Everybody thinks it's all about covering, but you have to be able to come up and make tackles, and we're seeing that. Disrupting the football, he's a ball hawk. He really displays everything you want out of a defensive back, and I think he's going to help contribute immensely at that position here.
Most of the kids that play at this level are able to sign scholarships like this, Christian, come from very good programs. But Tony, having played for Mark Freeman, played for one of the best not only in the state but in the country, how much does it help Nick Saban and staff to not teach a young man about winning? The football part you can teach, you need to teach, but the winning aspect, they sometimes either have it or they don't. Clearly, this guy has it.
He does have it. And coming from a winning program, it contributes so much because these guys understand what it takes to win. They understand the discipline and the commitment that it's going to take. So that's going to help them, you know, when they get in the program, because it takes a lot of discipline and commitment. We hear that a lot from Coach Saban. And these guys at least have, a background with it coming from that program that they come from. And it just helps them get acclimated that much quicker.
Let's turn from Tony Mitchell to Jalil Hurley, 6'2", 170. He is from Florence, Alabama. We talk about all these players around the country, but the state of Alabama, year in and year out, always turns out some great prospects, and you got to be able to start at home with your recruiting. Clearly, Coach Saban and staff have done that.
They have, and clearly they went out and got guys with length. Another guy with great length at the defensive back position who's also a great athlete. Here he is fielding the kickoff right here, taking it all the way down. So they knew what they were doing, Chris. They went out and got guys with length and athleticism. He also plays a little bit of receiver as well. So he's a phenomenal athlete. Here he is lined up at the safety position, tracking the ball, great range, delivering a big hit when he gets to the ball carrier, really passionate about it, getting up, celebrating. Here he is lined up at corner. Great change of direction. There he is. Tips and overthrows lead to interceptions, and that's exactly what happened. He gets the interception right here, returning it, taking it all the way down, making guys miss. This guy has great athletic ability and great length to be a cornerback if that's where he ends up playing. He can add a little bit more weight, to his frame, but he has a frame to do that. And just watching him, this guy just is a playmaker all around. So I expect him to come here and make some more plays in Crimson.
Yeah, 5 picks, 6 pass breakups, recovered a fumble, but forced 2 and also had 56 tackles, which says to me he's not afraid to play physical. There are DBs that have been known to maybe shy away from contact. They want to get the pick,
right,
but they don't want to deliver the stick. Well, this guy is clearly right in his past anyway.
Yeah, he's not scared to come down and lay the wood. We saw that on that tape right there, and you have to do that. That's part of the game now. The defensive back can't just be a cover guy. You have to be able to tackle and contribute in the run game, and that's what these guys have been displaying.
Let's talk about Desmond Ricks, who is out of Bradenton, Florida, another IMG Academy product. 6'1", 170, fast, physical, explosive, and out of the state of Florida, where they've turned out a prospect or two in the high school ranks.
They have IMG Academy, known for the talent. They have talent on their roster, and they play a lot of great talent. And this guy excelled in those ranks, so he's proven to do it against the best. You watch him. A lot of people wanted this guy, highly touted. We were waiting to see if we'd get him, and we ultimately got him. And I think they are so fired up about this guy. Great length as well at 6'1". He's fast, he's physical. He's got the trifecta for a defensive back. You see him right here down at the bottom, the right cornerback position. Speed turning right there, breaking the pass up. You know, this guy is a guy that's going to come in and contribute. A lot of people are excited about him. He can play outside. He can play inside in the slot. So he's versatile. You can put him at corner. You can put him at star. And there he is, again, in the run support, contributing to the run. You know, these guys, you have to do it as a defensive back, and they're not afraid to do it. So I think his ceiling is very high. I think he has a lot of potential. And I think he's going to get in here, get to work under the system. He's going to be coached by Coach Saban. You know, loves to work with DBs, so he's going to have Coach Saban coaching him up. I think it's going to help him tremendously, and I think he's going to end up being a great player for Alabama.
Yeah, that grad assistant with the DB, Saban, does a pretty good job with him as well. Desmond Ricks picking Bama over LSU, Florida, and Florida State. Everybody else, again, wanted him, but decided to come to the Crimson Tide. Caleb Downs, good look with the straw hat, good look in the Bama jersey, good look everywhere for this Hoshton, Georgia native out of Mill Creek High School, 6 feet, 195 pounds.
Chris, everybody's talking about this guy. This is a football guy. They say this guy eats, sleeps, and breathes football. So what that tells me is he has all the leadership qualities. He loves the game. He's passionate about the game. He has elite instincts and anticipation, a very high football IQ. A lot of people are making comparisons, early comparisons to a Minka Fitzpatrick, you know, a guy who's always watching tape, always trying to get better. And that's what we hear about this guy and Caleb Downs. You know, he's got great athleticism as well as physicality, a phenomenal leader. As I mentioned, here he is, you know, lined up at the safety position, running with the wheel route, right here, turning his head, high point the football, making a big play, coming up with the interception. You know, he's going to provide great versatility as well in secondary, being able to move around, line up at the free safety position, strong safety position, coming up with a nice interception. You know, that just shows me that that's that anticipation right there, that great vision, being able to read the quarterback and come up with big plays. He is an instant impact type of guy.
He's a guy also that's proven to be a great athlete. Played basketball and baseball at Mill Creek, won a state championship in basketball, and again, great bloodlines. His brother's a wide receiver at North Carolina. His dad, Gary, was a running back in the National Football League, Giants, Broncos, and Falcons. He's got an uncle that's pretty familiar in Dre Bly, two-time Pro Bowl pick at corner. Got to imagine there's a phone call or two made to him about questions he may have. Dre Bly, of course, won a Super Bowl, but from a college standpoint, everybody wanted this guy. Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame, Ohio State were the finalists, but thankfully, he's going to wind up here in Tuscaloosa.
Thankfully, and he adds to that great list of defensive backs that we have in this class. You know, guys that have great length, great frames, guys that are athletic, that are ball hawks, can make plays on the football. They read and react well, some great leadership qualities. I think there's a lot to be excited about in this defensive back class, Chris.
All right, let's go from the secondary, and we've already talked D linemen. Let's get to the guys in the middle of that. We go to the linebackers, and 6'1", 215-pound native of Memphis, Tennessee is Justin Jefferson. He went the junior college route, played at Pearl River after being at Bartlett High School, and as with everybody, one of the best coming out, but a four-star pick, also considered the second-ranked JUCO college recruit overall.
Another JUCO guy, so he's going to come in with some experience. This guy, you know, at 6'1", 215, he's a little lean for a linebacker, but if you watch him, he plays so much bigger than his size. I mean, he's not afraid to come in and lay the oomph on the guy. You know, look at him slamming the guy down right there. You know, with that speed and athleticism, he can play sideline to sideline, a very rangy guy, but look at that strength, picking the guy up and slamming him. I really like Justin Jefferson. You know, you watch him as a blitzer. He's so fast. You know, he's fierce. He's coming through the hole. He hits the hole. Some guys are a little hesitant when you call blitzes. Not this guy. He's looking to make somebody pay, just like he did right there, the ball carrier. I think he's going to benefit from the strength program. You know, add a couple pounds to him, help him get a little bit thicker so he can hold up playing in the SEC. But this guy is a playmaker. He plays fast and physical, and that's exactly what you want out of an inside linebacker in today's game.
And again, the national prospect, Bama and Auburn, Florida from the Southeast, Texas A&M, and Oregon also on his list. But Justin Jefferson, a Memphis native who went to Pearl River to play his JUCO ball, winding up at the University of Alabama. He starts off our look at the linebacker signees. But there is another one that comes up next. We talked about a young man from Carver High School earlier, but he has a teammate there. He will be a teammate in Tuscaloosa. Jaquavius is the full name, goes by Quay, and as an announcer, we love that. Quay Russaw from Montgomery, 6'2", 230 pounds, another great linebacker in this class.
Phenomenal linebacker, Chris, and a phenomenal athlete, just like we saw in Justin Jefferson. This guy is quick twitch and explosive. I love his versatility. We see him lined up right here, stacked back, blitzing, and oh my goodness, taking the quarterback out right there. I mean, this guy is going to make guys pay when he gets there. He does not shy away from contact. Here he is again, that closing speed. You just watch him.
Felt bad for that child.
Oh, I feel bad for all these children, Chris. He is making guys pay in his closing speed and his range. I mean, again, it's just that versatility because, again, we're seeing him lined up, stacked back. Now we see him on the line of scrimmage, so he can play edge. He can play inside linebacker. This guy's a true three-down type of player. You don't need to change personnel or sub guys out. He can move all around. Again, playing off the edge again, showing good twitch, change direction. This guy is a playmaker. He is a football player through and through. Kind of reminds me of Rashawn Evans, who's a defensive end at Auburn High School, but quick twitch, fast, great closing speed. We move him to inside linebacker. He's extremely productive, can really just play all over the defensive side of the football.
Those early clips, we saw no hesitation whatsoever. But then in the last clip, you got a great look at his patience and his ability to read the quarterback before he then just hunted him down in a hurry.
Before he annihilates him. He looks like he's just like a lion just preying on his prey, stalking him out and just he's attacking him, Chris. I love what I see out of Quay Russaw.
Saw you play. I can certainly understand why you would draw that comparison there. Let's talk about another guy in state, Yanze Pierre. He is from Eufaula, Alabama, 6'4", 220 pounds. He can be used a lot of different ways along that defensive front.
That's exactly right. Now you look at him again, another spectacular athlete who's quick twitch, just like the others that we've seen, and also super explosive. I've gotten to see this guy on film, and man, he has displayed some phenomenal pass rush ability. You see him right here, making somebody pay, dropping that shoulder. So much physicality out this linebacker group's all ready to go with that athleticism. Here he is, bending the edge, getting the sack, lined up at the left end, or edge position right here. Running right off the ball, dipping around the blocker, and look at that motor, just a high motor. His motor runs hot. He's not going to stop. He's going to chase guys down from the backside. And again, you just watch him. His athletic ability stands out. His ability to bend the edge, quick twitch tight guy. There he goes, running the guy down from the backside. And this guy's going to make an immediate impact on special teams with that type of athleticism and physicality. And again, you see with that motor and his pass rush ability, he's definitely a good pickup for Alabama.
Well, it just blows things up right from the get-go.
That's right.
With this, and then able to run down a guy from the backside as well. Cousin of a former Bama great, Courtney Upshaw.
Wow.
His cousin. He signed with the Tide over Auburn, Florida, and Georgia. I'm sure he loved the Tide on his own, but I'm sure Cuz said, you're going to Tuscaloosa.
He might not have had much of a choice, but it's a great choice, Chris.
Family reunion ain't going to be pleasant if you don't wind up in Tuscaloosa, but great for the Tide and Yanze Pierre to wind up signing with Alabama. Great also to see Keon Keeley ink with Alabama. 6'6", 240 plus. He's out of Berkeley Prep and a native of Tampa, Florida.
I shouldn't say I have favorites, Chris, but Keon's going to be one of my favorites, man. He plays my position. I've gotten to know him, actually, and I can't say enough about this kid. He is wise beyond his years. He's mature, but just if you watch his athletic ability coming inside right there, this guy has elite size and measurables. He's going to project at that jack position, like we've seen in Will Anderson. He can stand up, he can put his hand in the dirt. Great spin move right there as a counter move, getting the sack. He's long, he's lengthy, he's disruptive. I've seen him, move all around where they can kind of play with him and put him in that cheetah package. He has a plethora of pass rush moves in his arsenal already as a high schooler. So this guy's going to get in here, and he's just scratching the surface. I still think he has so much potential that he can reach. And there's just so many great things I see out of him and Keon Keeley. But again, getting to know him and getting to know the person he is a special guy, and I think he's going to have a tremendous career here at Alabama. Not
surprising at 6'6", 240. He also played basketball at Berkeley. He signs with the Tide over Florida, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Heard you say wise and athletic. No wonder he was your favorite. You found common characteristics.
Kind of reminds me of me.
Exactly. Exactly. I broke all of that down. You didn't have to. I made sure.
I didn't want to say it, Chris.
I found the common thread in the midst of all of that. Another common thread with this recruiting class, clearly, Christian, is the fact that everybody in the country wanted each of these players. They wanted to play for the best, and that's why they're winding up in an Alabama uniform.
That's right. You know, and I just think about myself and the things that I consider, the factors that I considered. I wanted to, you know, play for, you know, Coach Saban, the greatest of all time. I wanted to compete for national championships. I wanted to come to a program where I knew I'd be set up for my future, you know, post-career in football things. And not to mention just the ability to develop. You know, I'm practicing against the best of the best, and that's what these guys are going to get. They're going to be provided all of those opportunities, right? The #1 recruiting class, these guys are going to battle against each other as well as the guys from previous classes day in and day out, and that's what really makes you better. Iron sharpens iron, and these guys are going to soon realize this is one of the best decisions of their lives, and they have a tremendous opportunity ahead, and I'm so excited for each and every one of them.
I've never heard a coaching staff anywhere in America that said on National Signing Day, oh, we had a terrible day. Everybody, hope always springs eternal. It's clear with the numbers that Alabama signed a fantastic class. Is there a single hole anywhere that you found where they missed out? I don't get the indication that was the case.
I don't think so at all. You know, there's only, you know, one inside linebacker in Justin Jefferson, but then you look at guys like Quay Russaw and then the you know, Keon Keeley and man, those edge guys that are versatile enough that they can also play inside. Right. That you don't really need too many inside linebackers when you have the versatility in those guys, because they displayed that they can stack back and play that position. So, no, Chris, I think we've covered every area of need. Again, you got physical guys on the offensive line, you know, some disruptive physical guys, but athletic guys on the defensive line, some length in the defensive backfield who have also shown the ability to make plays, high point the football, you know, some athleticism at receiver, 2 quarterbacks who can, you know, do it all. I think they covered everything, and I think this class is just so balanced, so talented, and I think they have a lot of room to come in and really just show their ability and contribute to the program.
There's one other piece with this class and the returning players from last year that I think they will have in their favor that maybe hasn't been there in a few years in Alabama, and that is a true hunger to win it all again, because it's been 2 or 3 years now since this team has done that. Played for a national title 1 year ago, failed to make the playoff this year, but it's time again. There is a definite belief that this is a group that can help Alabama, along with the returning players, get back to where we all believe is the rightful throne for Crimson Tide football.
That's exactly right. And look, there's a standard here at Alabama, and these guys know that. They were told that when they were recruited here, and that's what they signed up for. They signed up for that challenge. There's nothing to be scared of. You come be a part of it. And these guys, they have the right character. They have the right mindset to come in and to contribute to that, because they know, you know, signing day is great. It's exciting, but, hey, you're just getting started. Now it's time to put in the work. Now it's time to really, you know, get in the weight room, get ready for spring practice. And I think these guys are ready for that challenge. And I'm expecting a lot of great things out of this signing class and the team moving forward.
All right. So we know it's about the rings. And the laptop's been blocking it. The iPad's been blocking it. Show what you've got. I mean, those are yours.
Yeah,
you won those.
There we go.
Those are 2 doorknobs.
There we go.
If they're on my hand, but those are massive. Those are 2 that you were a part of winning.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of those around this campus.
When
you go in Nick Saban's office, you see a table full of them. But you always want to have the newest one. If they're giving one out for that year,
that's right.
You want to go earn it, and that's what those guys are looking to do now.
Hey, and again, this is one of the reasons I wanted to come here and to be able to wear these and put these on my fingers. And here I am today, and I'm able to do that. And I'm expecting these guys to have several rings on their fingers, because, again, they have the talent, they have the right characteristics, they have the right mentality. Now it's just about going and putting in the work, trusting the process, buying into the program, and just go out there, have fun, win championships.
Championships, indeed. A championship business in our state for many years. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama, our sponsor and our partner with us here in our coverage of National Signing Day 2023. Partner, always great to see you. Great to talk about another fantastic signing class, doing so from here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. A large group of Alabama fans getting set to hear from Coach Nick Saban share his thoughts on this. Of course, you can follow that on RollTide.com as well. But our time has wrapped up for our program as Bama wraps up another top-rated recruiting class. For Christian Miller and all of us here at the University of Alabama, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide, and so long from the Capstone.